The elevator is recommended for individuals 13 and up for instances of profanity and discussion of murder. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey guys, RavenSylphe here. God, it's been a long time since I got to say that. Sorry about that. I've been wanting to post stuff, play games and stuff for you guys for a while now. I didn't really mean to quit for as long, or to go on hiatus or whatever for as long as I did. As you can see, this obviously isn't a game I was playing before. I will get back on Prince of Persia and Corpse Party later. I'm still trying to get through that one part of Corpse Party, and it is the most frustrating thing in the world. But anyways, I decided to do something else to get back in the groove of doing this. It's been a while. The main reason that I haven't been posting up anything was I was trying to make it so I could move everything over to my main channel. The one that was previously RavenSylphe Productions. But in order to do that, I want to cut off my contract with Machinima. And that's being very difficult. It looks like I might not be able to get out of that contract or until like May or June of next year. That's a long time. So yeah. And I'm trying my best to get it unconnected as quickly as possible, but that's I don't know, I might not be able to. Oh well. Let's just get into this. This is The Elevator. It's a game by a group called Cyanide Tea. They've made quite a few other. This is a visual novel game. I love these kind of games. I don't know why, but I just absolutely love them. This music is funky and really, really loud. I had to turn the sound down in the game as well as my computer sounds just so I didn't blow up my eardrums. I need better headphones anyways. So yeah, this is The Elevator. It's not a romancy one. I've got a few of those lined up, but I say that so much. I hate it. Anyways, this one's like, I got kind of a murder mystery vibe when I was looking at it and when I played it a little bit. Anyways, let's do this. Everybody's got some skeletons in their closet they don't want anybody else to know about. Me, I've got a warehouse full of them. When you work in a job where you get shoved into the dregs of society, where you've become so desensitized to the sight of a dead body that you can even joke about it, life's pretty bleak. Even now, I can remember the look on that guy's face. It's been burned into my head like a brand. Please, he said. Even after he'd killed all those people, he was still expecting mercy in his last days. He couldn't see the angry, horrified looks of the people on the faces of the people around him. Had no concept of the fact that what he'd done was wrong. That was the first time in my life that I realized, first time it finally hit home, that there are people in the world like that. Twisted psychos who think they're the heroes and everyone else is believing in the wrong god. I couldn't sleep for days after he was executed. Did I feel bad for him? I don't know. I don't think so, but nonetheless, sometimes I catch myself wondering if maybe he was right all along. And I've just been strung along with everyone else. Pretty fucking morbid to be curious about a serial killer's god, huh? But in all my life, I've never felt as sure of myself as he always did. Since that case was my big achievement, the pinnacle of my career, it was the one memory that the Force let me keep. Awfully nice of them, isn't it? Letting me relive that time over and over. The look on his face every time he talked to me, his eerie grin as he was executed. I don't even remember why it matters anymore. Just that it happened. Yeah, it definitely happened. Sometimes I almost forget. I have a warehouse full of skeletons, but they're all in locked boxes now except for the one. Maybe it's better that way. That was a lot. Jonathan. Oh, you're still here? Yeah, what's the problem? Try and do my best gruffy old man voice. It's not gonna work, my voice is too high. Nothing, you just usually clock out and go home by now. I've got some stuff I still need to take care of. Crime never sleeps. Ha, for the Jensen case? I let out a sigh. The Jensen case is the big one that we've been hacking away at for the last 2 weeks. Missing boy. Possible kidnapping, but with no ransom message after weeks, we're skeptical. Still haven't made much progress in finding him. I feel like I'm missing a detail somewhere. Are you sure this is everything? I gesture to the computer screen and it automatically opens a holographic array of all the information John's gathered so far. Dave, I've gone dumpster diving for some of that. If there's anything there, I sure as hell won't be able to find it. Damn, sorry. I know it's not your fault, but it's hard answering the parents' phone calls every day and having to tell them we haven't found their boy yet. I know. Sorry, I hate these missing people cases more than anything. Seems like 80% of the time they just end up with a dead body. Awfully optimistic of you. Yeah, well, give you something to be optimistic about. Well, give me something to optimistic about. Don't stay here too long, Dave, or the elevator girl will worry about you. I've never run into her on my way out. You never know. One of these days you might catch her on the work schedule. She might catch onto your work schedule. Well, I guess I'm heading out. Gotta catch the sky tram. Now, or I'll have to wait for 8 o'clock one. Alright, see you tomorrow, John. This probably sounds horrible. I'm sorry, guys. Once he's gone, I sigh some more. This job never gets any easier. Years ago, I was in the city's volunteer militia. Ended up getting hired to work for one of the district police in the homicide department. It was rough work, but I enjoyed laying the minds of the victims' families to rest. I think. Honestly, I don't remember much about what went on back then. Once I started working for the district, I got a chip implanted in my brain to improve cognitive function. I developed a photographic memory and an almost perfect recall system. But at the end of big cases, especially ones where district corruption was involved, I had most of my memories of the case wiped. It wasn't just me, it was a corporate policy. All the detectives had it done. I didn't mind it too much back then. At times, I even thought it was great to not have to remember the bad things. I could just focus on the task at hand. Guess I should too. I'm not getting anywhere. Not getting anything else done in this office, that's for sure. Our office is on the 78th floor of the... 78th? Oh my god. I hate heights. I have this huge fear of heights. Even on the 2nd floor, I will get woozy and dizzy and weak-kneed and just terrified. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And this 78th floor of this building, a run-down place in the far east side of town. Even the elevator's old technology. I have to wait ages for the elevator to reach me now since John just took it all the way down to the ground floor. Hell, he might not even be there yet. What is this? The Normandy? If you got that, then high five. Hi, hoof. But forgetting the bad things. Yeah, I used to think of it. All the blood, the killing, the torture, the rape. I could forget about those times and move on with a clear conscience. But then there was the case of the South Shore killer. So called because his victims were all people whom he caught on the nearby stretch of beach. They were all tortured viciously and then murdered for their trouble. By the time I caught him, he murdered 46 people there that we knew about. There were many reasons to believe that he'd killed other people in other locations too, before he settled on the South Shore. But we could never implicate him for it, and he never confessed. Avery McMillan. I'll never forget that bastard's name. Couldn't even if I wanted to. We did end up finding the Jensen kid, thank God. He just wandered back out of nowhere, dazed but without a scratch on him. John found him and brought him home, that was that. I can't believe that what happened. You think he just ran away from home? Maybe. He says he don't remember anything that happened over the last few weeks, though. Yeah, I hope nothing happened to him. I told the parents they should have him checked out at the hospital. I doubt they will. It costs way too much in this district. Can't they just go to another district? Dave? Oh, sorry. Yeah. You should get some sleep. I don't even know why you showed up to work today. Not like we've got other cases to work on. Unless you really did show up to see the elevator girl. The hell? I think you like her more than you're letting on. The elevator girl, huh? John thinks too much. I'm practically twice her age. Still, it's strange how she just became part of my life so easily, without even trying. It all started a few months ago. No, I guess it wouldn't. I have to go back farther than that. 17 years ago, I became famous, particularly overnight, after my team apprehended the South Shore killer. Avery McMillan was the worst serial killer anyone had ever seen since the Green River Killer centuries back, so I shouldn't have been surprised. Still, I wasn't used to the attention. Not by a long shot. Up to that point, I'd had most of my memories of my cases systematically wiped. Didn't care about taking credit for my deeds. I'm a born introvert, and I didn't get into that line of work for the fame. But the district couldn't let me forget about this one. Everywhere I went, my face was rubbed in it. I'd done some shady things to catch McMillan. I had to. The man was a genius. A crazy son of a bitch, no doubt, but a genius. I barely caught him, and it sure as hell wasn't because he was getting messy like the public still believes to this day. I couldn't handle the attention, the pressure. All I wanted was to do my job, being called a hero because I'd banded with the mafia to hunt one man down and ultimately kill him. It left a bad taste in my mouth. And higher-ups hated how I criticized them for their mistakes. I said to the press, maybe unwisely, that we could have solved the case sooner if certain members of the district council had been more cooperative. They had to shut me up, so I was promoted, kept away from serious cases, and expected to hobnob with the upper echelon. It wasn't me. I had to get out of there. So I left the district police force, and my best friend Jonathan North left with me. We moved ourselves into the east part of the district and bought some cheap space in an old building to use as our office, a private detective agency. Private dick. We'll take any case as long as it's something we believe in. Our place is just one little speck of idealism left in this lousy, fucked up district. Even now, this building has more than 80 floors. Most of them are empty. Most places nowadays are more high-tech and fancy. This skyscraper's a relic of a bygone age. But hey, the rent's dirt cheap, so I won't complain. There's a pharmaceuticals place with an office somewhere in the 40s, and some other research facility somewhere. But actually, I don't know much about who else is in the building. It's John's job to be on top of that sort of thing. It's not something I had to bother about since it's nothing to do with my job. For years I was perfectly fine not thinking about the other tenants and what they do here. That's what I thought. Until she started showing up. A young girl in her 20s, the prime of her life. I was about that age back when I was still a starry-eyed recruit in the police force. It's pretty rare seeing someone this young working in this part of town. Most of us settle here because we can't go anywhere else. An intern, a temp. My mind came up with the quick explanation and settled for it. The girl didn't matter to me. The first day I caught her glancing at me a few times. She didn't look nervous at all, maybe just a little curious. I didn't exactly look like a researcher, which is what most of the people in the building do, so she was probably just caught off guard. We didn't make any conversation at all during our time together, and she quietly got off the elevator once it reached the 54th floor. So there's another office on floor 54. I muttered to myself once she was gone, but that was all. The only reason I ever remember this brief insignificant moment is because of the fact that I can't forget things once they're in my head. Not anymore. After that I began to see her in the elevator every morning, rain or shine, weekday or not. If I was in the elevator going to work, so was she. I can't think of a single time when she wasn't there with me after the first time, even to this day. For the first several days, we didn't speak to each other at all. I guess either she's as much of an introvert or is that... I'm okay. Introvert as I am, or we just didn't have anything to say to each other. I could have made conversation, but if I really wanted to, but I didn't, so I didn't. Introverts. She's looking at me again, but what's with that face she's making? Excuse me. Yes? I was surprised she was talking to me. I was surprised she was talking to me. She had a nice voice, edged with concern though it was. Your shoulder. What about it? There's blood seeping through your shirt. I can see it from here. What a sensitive girl she is. Sorry, happens a lot in my line of work. Your line of work? I'm a detective. I had to apprehend a runaway last night and he gave me some trouble. A runaway? A criminal that tried to run? It wasn't anything that glamorous. A runaway cat. I see. Sounds like you had a rough night. I've definitely had better. The strange tension that had always been there between us lifted after that. Oh, sorry. I'm Elena Cormack. I've seen you every day, but I've never introduced myself, huh? Sorry for being so forward. Don't worry about it. I'm not exactly the type to stand on ceremony. I'm David Carmichael. Good to meet you. So there's a detective agency on the 70th floor. I had no idea. Well, we're pretty quiet and we don't bother the other tenants around here, so most people don't know about our agency unless they're actively looking for it. I see. Well, we have some time before our elevator reaches my floor, so I take care of that, wound of yours. There's no need to... Come on, don't stand on ceremony, Detective Carmichael. Fine, kids these days. Elena pulled a small first aid kit from her jacket pocket while I rolled up my sleeve. She had the wound taken care of in no time at all. So I take it you work for the pharmaceutical company here? Why would you think that? Why else would you have a first aid kit? Actually, I'm a secretary at a travel agency, the Puma Agency. I carry around this first aid kit because it's company policy. Huh, do people get injured enough at your office to warrant that? You'd be surprised how much trouble people can get themselves into with a paper cut or a letter opener. Paper cut or a letter opener. That's amazingly sad, but I guess my saying that is like calling the kettle black. The pot? Huh? Damn, the age difference is showing. It's an old phrase. I was saying that I shouldn't make fun of them when I got this much damage from a cat. I see. Oh, this is my floor. It was nice talking to you, Detective. So that's how it started. From then until now, a good 7 months or so, the two of us have been, well, elevator buddies, I guess. Maybe buddies is a little too far. Anyways, we don't always talk up a storm, but she's always there. She's a pretty girl, no doubt, but John's got it all wrong. Hell, I'm practically old enough to be her father. Some of the things I say are so old-fashioned she doesn't even understand them. It's not exactly reassuring. These days, a lot of women are interested in stable or older men, you know? You should seize the chance to snag yourself a hot younger wife. You haven't even seen her yet. Sure, but if she was unattractive, you wouldn't have brought her up at all, right? You think I'm that shallow? Aren't we all a little shallow? I sigh. John's got the idea that I need to settle down and find normal happiness. We're already at that age, he's always saying, over the hill, middle age, past the prime of life. All the more reason a girl like Elena would never be interested in an old-timer like me. Well, I'll think about it. You know, some girls do like older men. I like older men. Will forever have a crush on Sean Connery. Biggest crush on Sean Connery. Plus various other stars that are older. Well, I'll think about it. Hopefully that's enough to shut him up. McMillan's staring down the barrel of my gun. I can see it in my mind clear as day as if I close my eyes. I could have shot him from a distance, but I just wanted for him to get a taste of what it was like for his victims to be face to face with death. Would he tremble? Would he be just as afraid as they were? In the end, I think he felt nothing at all. He stared at me impassively with those bottomless green eyes of his and just smiled. This wasn't the reaction I'd wanted. I roared at him to surrender, to tell me why he'd killed all those people. I'd been chasing this bastard for what seemed like forever. I needed closure. I needed answers. Killed? He looked offended at my choice of words. I was just returning them to God. God doesn't need you doing him any favors, I said back to him. I was stirred by how peaceful he seemed, even as I held his life in the palm of my hand. Your God and mine are not the same. There was that smile again, complete without malice. He really believed what he was saying, and he saw nothing but wrong with his logic. Well, of course he didn't. If he did, he wouldn't have committed those crimes. I had nothing to say to him. I just wanted him to admit that what he did was wrong, to feel some shame, or to even be upset that he was being taken in. He did none of those things. The only time he showed any emotion was when his family got involved during the trial. I'd like for my children to be protected. I think some might give them a hard time because of all this. He looked troubled. Was this an admission of guilt over his actions? He clearly understood that his family could get lynched for what he'd done, at least. So I asked him. It's certainly not. It's not my fault that this is happening to them. Macmillan seemed disgusted that I'd even implied it. It's not my fault nobody else understands our God. Our God, he said, but his family denied it. Their official statement claimed that they had no knowledge of his actions and did not condone any of what he did. They abandoned him even as he was worrying about how the public might crucify them. I can still remember his youngest child staring at me when I was on the stand, but her face was unreadable. She probably wasn't old enough to understand any of what was going on. God, why did her father have to put her in this position? I wondered if she even would have to change her name or move. But then I felt annoyed that we had to protect his family at all, to follow his wishes even when even though he'd ignore the wishes of at least 50 people who didn't deserve to die. I am returning them to Azura. Those were his last words. Or I am returning to Azura. Those were his last words. They brought me no comfort at all. Another morning, another 20-minute ride up in the elevator. I've heard that this is... Okay. I keep bumping the scroll on the mouse and it sends it backwards through the... Yeah, it's annoying. I will keep my hands off of it unless I need it to touch it. Right up in the elevator. I've heard that this is slow even for ancient relic standards, and I have nothing to base it on. And it's not like we have any mechanics who will fix something like this up. 20 minutes is just enough time for me to collect my thoughts, or let my mind wander back to the past and what I remember of it. Usually it's the second one. Elena's here again, of course she is. Excuse me. She looks like she's deep in thought. Good morning. Oh, good morning, Detective. Sorry, I was lost in my thoughts. I could tell. Got a problem at work? You seem a little more tired than usual. Huh? Tired? How do you figure? I point at her shoulders. Your shoulders are sagging. Normally your posture's beyond reproach. I'm amazed you notice something like that. I suppose that's what being a detective is all about, though. I bet you can tell all sorts of things about a person just by looking at them. These days, not so much. I'm just getting used to you. Then, there you go, being modest again. Elena and I make a bit of small talk before we reach her floor, and she says goodbye. Work is pretty slow these days, I can't complain. It just means people aren't getting in trouble as much this week. The less dead bodies for me and John have to find, the better. So how was she today? Who's being pretty nosy, especially when there's nothing else for him to do but bother me with my non-existent love life. She was fine, seemed a little tired. You noticed something like that? It was pretty obvious. Is that what I say? Is what I say, but maybe I am too conscious of her. Oh, when it's just two people in a little elevator, day after day, you can't help but notice each other, I guess. Anyway, jokes aside, I got some pretty disturbing news today. Pretty nasty stuff. What is it? The Jensen kid we found last week? He's dead. Oh. What? What? That hurt. What? What the hell happened? He was killed on the South Shore. My blood runs cold when I hear the last two words, the South Shore. Avery McMillan, I put the thoughts out of my head. McMillan's dead and plenty of people go to South Shore now. Accidents, even the occasional murder happen every day. I try to calm down before my paranoia affects my judgment. I need to drink water. 1 second, David. Ugh. Are we being put on the case? No, the police are taking care of it. The parents just wanted us to update us since we worked so hard on finding him. It seems they were there on a family outing. The boy disappeared from their sight for a few minutes and then he was found washed up on the shore. Dead. God. You'd think they would have kept a better eye on him after he vanished the first time. It's not their fault. No one expects these things to happen. Yeah. Sorry to be a bearer of bad news, Dave. Don't blame yourself. It's just a tragedy. I hope the police can catch him. They've never done half as well in the homicide since you left, but yeah, I hope so, too. Hell, what is the world coming to? The next morning, I'm waiting in the lobby for the elevator to come down to the fourth floor. The Jensen case floats in the forefront of my mind, and I sigh. Had some trouble with the cat? More trouble with the cat? Elena. I hear the click-clack of her high heels against the tile floor as she walks up to me and stands at my side. I sigh again. I wish it were as simple as that. The two of us step into the elevator together, press the button of our respective floors, and settle in as usual. What is it? Well, I feel like I shouldn't ask, but what you're so upset about, but I do want to know. Why do you feel like you can't ask? Don't detectives have some sort of confidentiality agreement with their clients? It wouldn't do for me to pry. Oh, I see. That's actually a pretty legitimate concern. Elena's a lot more thoughtful than I give her credit for. Actually, this time I'm worried about something the whole district knows about, the murder that happened on the South Shore yesterday. Oh, that. I heard about that too. What an unfortunate incident. His family must feel awful. No doubt, but after they've just been reunited too. Reunited? And it feels so... No, this is a serious situation. Serious! Ow. Shit, the boy's disappearance wasn't public knowledge. Me, my big mouth. I'm never this careless. Not usually. Something about this girl lowers my guard. It must be those big, innocent eyes and how she's so easy for even an old man like me to talk to. Yes, the big I guess let's explain. We've already spilled our guts. Tell the truth, the boy actually disappeared only a few weeks ago. My partner and I were hired to find him. You mean to say something happened to him even before this? Yes, after a few weeks we found him, but he had no memory of what happened while he was gone. Oops. At any rate, we were just satisfied that he could be reunited with his family. But then this happens. That's so sad. I can't even begin to imagine how his family must feel right now. Oh, but is it alright for you to be telling me all this? I can't see that it would hurt anything. Just don't go blabbing about it to anyone, I guess. I can trust you with that much, right, Elena? Of course you can, detective. I don't really have anyone to tell anyway. What do you mean? Huh? Oh, sorry, it was nothing. What a peculiar girl. I wonder if, like me, she feels alone at times. She would have said it like that if there was something that wasn't something that bothered her, right? So how was the elevator girl today? You seem awfully concerned about her, John. As usual, I suppose. Ah, you think so? It's like that I never see you interact with anyone but me, so I guess I'm just happy that you're widening your horizons a little. Making small talk like someone with talk with someone on an elevator is considered widening your horizons these days. And I'll take what I can get. Is there any news on the Jensen case? Nope, it's only been 24 hours after all. I see. When John doesn't say anything, I look up and I'm surprised to see him look so worried. This guy's normally the balancing act of my infinite pessimism after all. What's the matter with you? I've been thinking, maybe you shouldn't worry so much about this case. Huh? What do you mean by that? It's got some parallels to the South Shore killer case, right? You were really out of it back then, before and after McMillan was caught. I think it's best if you keep your mind off all this. You dwell on that stuff too much as it is. What? I don't dwell on it. Are you kidding me? You think about it every day. Don't try to lie to me, Dave. I know you better than anyone. Who was your partner on that case? I hate to admit it, but John's right. I do think about McMillan case a lot. But can you blame me? It's not as if I have any other memories to think about. The Forks took them away from me, for better or for worse. But what's wrong with thinking about it? It's unhealthy, that's what. It's been almost 20 years since he was executed. He's not here anymore. The killing stopped. So why are you still acting like he might pop out from around the corner at any given moment? That's not what I worry about. That's not it at all. How do I explain my thoughts to John? I don't even understand it myself.